Hi there, Sam.
Hey, Ed.
So, I had asked you about your conclusion about some of the most important things in life in terms of, how to live our life with integrity and balance and spiritual harmony. And what you just shared with me is the importance of keeping it simple.
Right. And that's something we all hear. So it's not like I know that exclusively, but I do feel very connected to it. I know in my own life, I enjoy simple things, um, things that, aren't really too overplanned, too overthought, too overworked. And there's something in my being that just feels more comfortable in that kind of an environment. And so, we've heard the expression, keep it simple, stupid. Well, I don't like that. I would say, keep it simple, spark of the Creator. Just keep life as simple as you're able to and willing to, and see if it doesn't enhance your enjoyment of your life and others' lives and y'all's lives together. So, again, if that speaks to you, good. And if not, God bless us all.
Sam, something else you had just shared was the importance of keeping things lighthearted. What
Yeah.
would you like to share about that?
Well, it kind of follows the keep it simple. It's like, for me, um, I enjoy what I call lighthearted humor. Um, I have had a tendency in the past to be a little too serious, to take myself too seriously, and others had the burden of attempting to accept that part of me that I know now was not something that was the quality I would like to have exhibited in my life. But it's okay that I did. I forgive myself for that. Hope others may be forgiving me. And I just enjoy, that we can be lighthearted, a little silly, a little playful, and not too serious, even while discussing serious things. So it's that balance, that there is no perfect example of how to do it. It's just more of an attitude. And I think it's these attitudes that we, can take for granted because they seem so obvious or simple that are really the most important things in our lives in terms of, what we leave behind us. People will notice the kind of attitude that we had towards them, towards situations, and that attitude speaks oodles about, you know, who we who we are being in life. So the kinder we can be, the gentler we can be, the more lighthearted we can be, the more forgiving we can be, the more accepting of our own imperfection and others' imperfections. All those things are huge to me in terms of helping to create a human environment that we can all feel more safe and comfortable in.
That's beautiful. You also shared, Sam, about not projecting onto other people. What would you like to share about that, brother?
Yeah, again, we're all human beings, and as human beings, there are lots of things that we all can get into that just seems to be a natural part of being a human being. And some of those may be fine, and others, may be a little more challenging for us. And so I think the part of myself that spent time projecting things that people said or did, onto them, um, because I was holding that inside myself, didn't ever serve me and never served anyone else. So I think by choosing to pay attention to whether we are projecting things onto other people that isn't something that necessarily belongs to them can make for better relationships. There's just all these little things that make a huge difference in the quality of what I call a well-lived life. And I don't feel like I've always had a well-lived life, but I feel like these latter years have been perhaps better lived than in the past. And so these are just a few of the things that have come to me that seem that they've helped in that process. And I know I've been supported and helped by so many amazing friends, co-workers, teachers, to be able to kind of lighten my load so that when we're hanging out, we can be together with authenticity and realness, and still, just be simply enjoying who we are without having to fancy it up.
That's beautiful. And one of the risks of projection is we can define people and think this is who they are, when actuality it's our projection, not necessarily the reality.
Exactly. And so, I think as we just hearing you say that, it's like, logically speaking, if we thought about it logically, it would be obvious that that's not a good thing for us or for others. But again, in that sort of vulnerability of being a human being who may not always be so clear or pay such good attention, and that certainly is me in my life. I've been that person many, many times in my life, but the times that I'm doing that less, those are the times that I'm happier about and feel like I'm more living an authentic life.
In regards to that, what would you like to share about the human tendency to overdiagnose ourselves or overdiagnose others?
Yeah, well, that's a mouthful. And again, it's tricky because we're each built a bit differently. And we tend to be introspective as human beings. Not all of us the same way, but that does tend to be a thing. And we tend to be very self-critical, as well as critical of others. So it kind of all fits into that same bag, where all these things can be operating and we're not even that conscious of it. It's just kind of become a default in our lives. And to me, these things that we're talking about, that overcritical nature for ourselves or others, is just a detractor from enjoyment and the pleasure of having a simple human life in a community with other people who, are your friends, your neighbors, your co-workers, your family, whatever, so that we can leave this life when we do, with a better taste in people's mouths than we might otherwise leave.
That's beautiful. One last thought I felt you may want to comment on is that in terms of our relationship with our higher power, which you source, the source of unconditional love, the source of our true self, we are never judged. It's an unconditional relationship that our source has for us. And when we realize that, we also realize we have no right to judge anybody.
Yeah, I think you said it all, brother. Don't know that I need to elaborate on that. I think it's just it's a tricky one because, again, in that human experience that we have, being judgmental is kind of in the air and in the water. So I like to say, and I would often say this in the trainings where we were, meeting folks who were in recovery, is that, we like the idea of being non-judgmental, but I know that I still have a judgmental mind. And so instead of trying to hold an unreasonable expectation of being non-judgmental, I would say, why don't we just do our best to suspend our judgments so that they don't take deep roots? and then interfere with our experience in this world with other people.
So that sounds like a really good way to not be judgmental about your judgmentalness.
Well, you can say that, which is a good thing, right?